He said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, begins at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Depression it starts out from ignorance, doubt, and worry. I've got a chart, I show it. Doubt and worry is on the negative side of life. Understanding is on the positive side. Right. Doubt and worry comes from ignorance. Understanding comes from knowledge, but you got to study to get it. Doubt and worry are a psychic disease. It's an intellectual exercise. They're using their intellectual factors to build a negative idea, and that's all they see. They take and internalize that, and they get emotionally involved with it. It goes from doubt and worry to fear. They've emotionalized the doubt or worry. Turns into fear. The fear is in the emotional mind, and the emotion must be expressed through the only instrument it can be expressed through, the physical body. So it moves the body into a state we call anxiety. Anxiety is never expressed. Anxiety is suppressed.
You don't know
the suppression turns to depression. They bottle it up inside. They suppressed the fear. It turns into depression. The depression turns into disease. The disease turns into decay. St. Clair Lewis was right. He said, we don't die, we kill ourselves. Now, what is the opposite of all that? You go from ignorance to doubt and worry, to fear, to anxiety, suppression, depression, disease, disintegration. Go over on the other side. You go from understanding to emotional state called faith. You just know it's going to move into form because you understand the law. Faith isn't believing something you can't see. Strange thing about faith and fear, they both demand you believe something you can't see. Why would people choose fear over faith? Because they're ignorant. So you go from understanding to faith. The faith manifests on the physical plane, not as anxiety, as well-being. The well-being is not suppressed, it's expressed. And the expression turns to acceleration. You're building energy. And that is because there's no dis-ease, you're at ease. And that turns into creation, not disintegration. It's all a mental trip that they're building. Now they go to the doctor gives them Valium or some kind of drug to cool them out. He gets them numb so they don't know what the hell they're doing. I could show anybody how to overcome depression if they'll do it, but they got to do it. And that's where repetition comes in. Problems are nothing but opportunities. You just got to look at it, figure, I'm going to figure this out, you know. They're not bad things, they're good things. See, pardon me, we're conditioned, first of all. If you stop and think, where'd we come from? There's a little particle of energy from mom, a little particle of energy from dad. That's the moment of conception. And then an attractive force is set up. All of mom's DNA and all of dad's DNA, all their belief is locked up in those cells. All their conditioning. 280 days later, you make your debut on the planet. You're born. Then, and your subconscious mind is wide open, it's like that glass. You can put anything in there you want. The subconscious has no ability to reject. It is immoral, it is totally deductive. It can only accept, it cannot reject. So then the baby is surrounded by the people that's in that environment. If you took a baby out of Serbia, somewhere here just outside of Belgrade,
sure,
and you take that baby to the suburbs of Beijing, or maybe New York, that baby will grow up fluent in Chinese or English and have no knowledge of the Serbian language. And yet it was born to Serbian parents. The environment.
It's what creates.
It has a greater influence than genetics. However, you look like your relatives because of the genetic conditioning, and then on top of that, you've got the environmental conditioning. Well, all that conditioning is repetition in your subconscious mind. It forms something we call a paradigm. A paradigm is nothing but a mass of habits or a mass of ideas that express themselves automatically without any conscious thought. And that paradigm keeps us going. It's in our subconscious mind. We gather information in our conscious mind, but it's the subconscious that moves the body. And if we don't change that paradigm, nothing happens. That's what I did when I got into this book. It was the repetition of information that was totally foreign to me. It was totally foreign to anything I had ever heard. And as I started to listen to it on recordings, I couldn't stop listening to the record. I had never heard anybody talk like that. I thought, wow, anybody can have anything they want. What if that's true? Well, I found out it was true. That's the way we live. He said, if you're not willing to do more than you're being paid for, you'll never be paid for more than you're doing. Giving is one of the laws of the universe. You've got to willingly give and graciously receive. And if you have to think before you give, you're trading, you're not giving. That was probably one of the best investments you've ever made. First of all, you're dealing with one heck of a good crew.
Oof.
With Scott and Sean. I mean, those guys,
amazing people.
They're class. They are really class act. And you're going to make connections through that
and it feels natural
couldn't
to
buy.
me.
Well, that's why it is natural. That's why you're doing it. I sat down one day with my pen in this business. I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. We operate all over the world. So if you have to borrow money, borrow the money. But get into the business. Actually do it. And anybody wants my book, you can get the Born Rich book, you can go, we give it away. If you go on our site, go to bobproctor.com or proctorgallagher.com. Download some of the stuff. We give a lot of good stuff away.
Yeah.
And start listening to it. Watch this recording. Watch it 1,000 times. Be the best hour you ever spent. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to reprogram your mind just through listening to me saying the same thing over and over again. You're going to think, wow, wow. You know? Sandy Gallagher is my business partner.
Love her.
She is really good. She was going through a very tough time personally a number of years ago. We were in Phoenix. We were doing a seminar. I had to leave, catch a plane somewhere. And she said, before you leave, could we get together maybe for a cup of coffee? Could you, I want to talk to you. And I said, sure. So we went across the road to a coffee shop. And we were sitting there. And she said, could you give me 2 or 3 ideas that I could do every day that would help me through this? I said, sure. I didn't know what I was going to tell her, but I knew I would tell her something. So I said, every day, I want you to take a pen and write down, every morning, write down 10 things you're grateful for. But you've really got to be grateful. You've got to feel it. You're really grateful. Then I want you to send love to 3 people that are bothering you. If they're bothering you, you don't like them. They've got nothing to do with it. You're thinking bad thoughts about them. You're putting yourself in a bad vibration. Send love to 3 people that bother you. And then take 5 minutes and be quiet. Just be perfectly quiet and ask for guidance for the day. Everybody in our company does that every day. She started to do it like that, everything changed. In fact, my assistant, Gina, who's been with me over 30 years, she was working in Phoenix, and I phoned Gina, and I told her what I wanted. Within an hour, she had a pad printed at Kinko's and had it, the 10 things, 1 down to 10, you know. Send love to 3 people who bother you, be quiet for 5 minutes. Sandy was going to Hawaii with her sister and her mother the next day. She got pads made for both of them, and every morning they started to do that. It changed every one of their lives. We give that out now in a lot of our seminars, and we train the audience to do it. Start every morning, write 10 things that you're grateful for. Send love to 3 people that bother you. Be quiet for 5 minutes and ask for guidance for the day. It's a winning formula.